The first time Aaron Hayes felt truly alone was the day he realized he had done everything right in life, yet ended up with nothing he had once prayed for. He had built a stable career in Denver, bought a modest but warm home, stayed honest, stayed kind, stayed humble. And still, every night he ate dinner at a table meant for two, listening to the silence that echoed like a reminder that love had not found him. He never complained, never questioned God, but deep inside, he wondered how long he would have to wait. Little did he know that the love destined for him was not the love he imagined. It was a love wrapped in tired eyes, trembling hands, and the soft heartbeat of a little boy who would change his life forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that heal the heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps stories like this reach more souls. Aaron's life was simple: work, church, grocery store, home, repeat. But loneliness had a way of making every routine feel heavier. He had watched friends marry, watched their kids grow, watched Christmas stockings multiply in their living rooms. His stayed empty. Still, he held on to faith. He kept one extra plate in his cabinet, telling himself that one day someone would sit across from him, smile, and say they were home. One Tuesday evening, as a Colorado storm rolled across the sky, Aaron stopped by a quiet hospital cafe after visiting an elderly church member. He sat by the wide glass window, sipping a paper cup of coffee, watching rain tap against the glass in quiet rhythm. It was one of those moments where time slowed, where loneliness felt sharper. He wondered why life seemed to pass him by. That was when he noticed her. A young woman walked into the cafe, soaked from the rain, trying to steady the little boy on her hip. She looked exhausted, dark circles beneath her eyes, hair sticking to her cheeks, a gray cardigan clinging to her trembling frame. The little boy clung to her, his blue hoodie damp, his tiny sneakers tapping against her side. She wasn't just tired. She looked broken in a way only people who had been carrying too much for too long looked. Aaron didn't know why, but something inside him stirred. Maybe compassion. Maybe purpose, maybe divine timing. All he knew was that God had placed someone deeply fragile just a few feet away from him. He watched as she struggled to calm the little boy, who looked scared and cold. She tried to order something, but when she opened her wallet, Aaron noticed her hesitate. Something in her expression shifted. Embarrassment, fear, maybe both. She pulled out a few crumpled bills and placed them on the counter. Before she even received her change, the boy whimpered, burying his face in her shoulder. She whispered something to him, her voice cracking like glass under pressure. Aaron felt his heart twist. He didn't want to invade her space, didn't want to make her uncomfortable, but everything inside him screamed that this moment mattered, that this wasn't coincidence. The woman found a seat near the far corner, bouncing her son gently on her lap, trying to comfort him even though she clearly needed comfort herself. Aaron sat for a full minute, staring at his coffee, wrestling with the urge to stand and approach her. Something more powerful than fear gently pushed him forward. He walked toward her, and though he didn't know her, his heart beat like he was approaching someone meant to be in his life. The woman lifted her eyes, startled but not defensive. Something in her eyes told him she was used to doing everything alone. Her name was Claire, and her little boy was Jacob, 3 years old, shy and clinging to the only stability he knew, his mother. She didn't give many details at first, but Aaron didn't push. He simply offered a warm smile, a soft presence, and the kind of gentleness people feel safe around. Eventually, Claire admitted she was at the hospital because her sister was undergoing emergency surgery. She had no one else to watch Jacob. Their parents were gone, and the man who once promised her forever had disappeared the moment things got hard. Claire wasn't just carrying responsibilities. She was drowning in them. Aaron listened, not with pity, but with genuine care. He nodded, he reassured, he let her breathe. He didn't offer solutions, didn't pretend to fix her life. He simply sat there, steady, calm, present. Maybe that's why she didn't break down. She just talked. He just listened. And Jacob eventually reached his arms toward him, a gesture of trust that startled Claire. But Jacob sensed what children naturally sense: safety. Aaron gently lifted the little boy onto his lap, and Jacob rested against him as if he had known him forever. Something inside Aaron shifted so powerfully he almost couldn't breathe. He had prayed for years for love, but somehow holding this little boy felt like God whispering, "Here. This is where your love begins." As hours passed, Claire received an update about her sister. The surgery had gone well, but she would need a few days of recovery. Claire planned to sleep in the waiting room. Aaron couldn't bear the thought. He offered her his guest room, not out of pity, but out of genuine concern. She hesitated, but exhaustion forced her to accept. That night, as Aaron drove them through the quiet Denver streets, he realized he had never felt more certain about anything in his life. Claire stood in his doorway like she was stepping into a foreign world. His home was warm, clean, peaceful. Everything her life had not been for a long time. She whispered a thank you so fragile that Aaron wanted to protect it like something sacred. Over the next few days, something beautiful happened. Claire cooked breakfast even though she didn't have to. Jacob ran through Aaron's living room laughing for the first time in months. Claire cleaned dishes while humming a soft hymn her mother used to sing. Aaron found himself smiling more, praying more, feeling life again. One evening, while Jacob slept on the couch, Claire stood near the kitchen doorway, her fingers trembling against her cardigan. She looked at him with eyes filled with gratitude he didn't deserve. She whispered that she didn't understand why God let her life fall apart, why she lost family, love, stability, why she ended up trapped in a relationship that drained her spirit. She said she felt like God had forgotten her. Aaron stepped closer, not touching her, but standing near enough to make her feel anchored. He told her gently that God hadn't forgotten her. He had been guiding her toward safety, toward healing, toward a place where she didn't have to fight alone anymore, toward someone who would protect her heart instead of breaking it. Claire didn't cry often, but that night, she did. Soft tears fell as she whispered that she didn't know how to trust again, didn't know how to accept love when she felt unworthy of it. Aaron didn't speak. Instead, Jacob stirred in his sleep, murmuring Claire's name, and she rushed to him, brushing his hair gently. Aaron watched her, watched the fierce, soft love of a mother, and something inside him changed forever. He wasn't waiting for love anymore. He was ready to give it. Days turned into weeks, and Claire's sister healed. Claire could have gone back to her small apartment, could have returned to her lonely world. But she stayed. Not because she didn't have options, but because Aaron's presence felt like the safest place she had ever known. And Aaron? He found himself praying that she wouldn't leave. One chilly Sunday morning after church, Jacob reached for Aaron's hand without hesitation. Claire watched the moment quietly, and tears filled her eyes. Not from sadness, but from the realization that her son trusted this man more deeply than he had trusted anyone except her. That afternoon, Claire finally told him her full story, her struggles, her fears, her losses. Aaron didn't judge her, didn't interrupt, didn't make her feel small. He simply took her pain and placed it inside the space in his heart that had been waiting for purpose. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly supports the channel and helps us create more inspiring stories. Claire didn't tell Aaron she loved him right away. She didn't have to. Love showed itself in the meals she cooked, in the way she gently folded his shirts, in how she stood beside him at church, in how she trusted him with her wounded heart. And Aaron loved her in the quietest, purest way, by being there, by being constant, by being the answer to a prayer she never dared to speak. One evening, months later, Jacob fell asleep on Aaron's chest while they were watching a movie. Claire stood in the doorway watching them, her heart full and trembling. She whispered softly that she finally understood. God didn't send Aaron a woman to complete his life. God sent him a woman who needed him more, so that love could begin where healing was needed most. Before you go, comment below. God sends the right people at the right time. Claire, Aaron, and Jacob became a family, not by blood, not by perfection, but by grace, timing, and the kind of love that grows gently from brokenness into something beautiful. And Aaron never spent another night wondering when love would find him. God had already sent it, in the form of a woman who needed it more.